So now let's look and talk about how to create equations with no solutions. So copy this down as your title of the next little section. Don't copy this. This is a refresher reminder. If the right side of the equation will never be equal to the left, your equation has no solutions. So this is the case where we get a number that does not equal the other number. Okay. Again, just a review, don't copy this down. Here would be an example of an equation that had no solution because the left side is never going to equal the right side. If I take whatever number 5x is and I add 2 to it, it's never going to equal that same number plus 3. Adding 2 to one side and 3 to the other, and you're never going to be equal. That's the situation we're looking at here. This is where if we were to solve, you would get a number that does not equal the other number. Okay, so a reminder that that's what we're looking at. And again, you've been able to solve an equation and then look at the end of it and say, oh, there's no solution. Now I'm going to tell you there's no solution, you write the equation. So let's look at something to copy down. So we're going to copy this section. You don't have to copy in other words. But both sides of the equation, okay, so both sides of the equation will have the same coefficient, but a different constant. So copy that down and then copy this example down here with the letters. Hit pause and do that. So let's look for a second back at what we had here. Okay, according to what you just wrote, it says the left side will never equal the right side. And it has the same coefficient, different constants. If you look here, my coefficient is the same. And if we compare our constants, they're different. The fact that we have same coefficients means that they'll end up canceling each other out when we solve. And different constants mean once we cancel the variables, the numbers that are left will not be equal because they're different. Okay, so that's what's happening here. So if we look here, I compare my A to my A, label those, same coefficient. And then if we look at our constants, I have a B on one side and a C on the other side. Different constants. That's the key, especially when we're creating our own equations. So get all that copied. Now let's go ahead and just jump right into an example. Copy these instructions and copy example 1. Hit pause and then come back when you're ready. Okay. So for no solutions, we need the same coefficient. And my coefficient is a -6. Then we need a different constant. My constant is a 1. So I need a number that's different than 1. Any number, just make sure it's not 1. Okay. So when I write my new equation, same coefficient, different constant, 10, 100, 1.3, 2/3, whatever you want. Coefficients must be the same. Constants must be different. Because again, when my variables cancel each other out, when I solve, I need to be left with a number on each side that's not equal. And we're using the same exact equations we did in the other section, just so that you can see that depending on what you need, for the most part, you can get this done no matter what you're asked solution-wise. Example 2, don't copy the instructions, just pause and copy the example. And again, the first thing we're going to do is simplify. W plus W is 2W. Remember, I don't solve anything or start getting crazy until I clean up each side of the equation. So blank W plus negative blank. So remember, we want same coefficient, different constant. So my coefficient is a 2. I need my equation to have the same coefficient, 2. Different constant. Well, my constant is a negative 4, so I just need to pick some other number. It's going to be negative 5, 1, 3. You could make it positive 4 if you wanted to. It'd be a little crazy once you enter it in your equation, but so my final answer would be negative 4 plus W equals 2W plus negative 5, or back up, minus 5. And you could solve this and check it and just make sure everything worked out correctly if you wanted to. I would get negative 4 plus 2W equals 2W plus negative 5. I solve. And because negative 4 does not equal negative 5, I know it's no solution. This check is an optional step just in case you're unsure of yourself or you want to, it's a quiz or something and you want to make sure 100% that you're right. But this right here would be how you would write your final answer. Or this step is fine too. Last one. Example 3. We want no solutions. So again, let's simplify first. Remember, once we simplify, that's going to make sure that we can focus on what our coefficient is and we can focus on what our constant is. If you don't have one side simplified, you can't break down to those two numbers. I need a coefficient, I need a constant, one of each. Because with no solutions, we need the same constant, which is what we have, and we need, this is 21. And we need different coefficients. This coefficient is 21. I need something that's not 21. 11. You can pick any number that you want as long as it's not 21. And then when we rewrite our final answer, I get 3 times a plus 7 equals 3a plus 11. And that's it.